and Zilla, where we take you from real-world challenges to practical solutions.
From mindset and manifestation to
Maybe it should
culture,
go back.
community,
Shit.
and building better systems. This isn't just talk.
Let's get into it.
All right, welcome to A to Z. This is Rod Zilla and my good friend Oyanda Ali. We are live today on Sunday. Today we're going to be talking about seeds and what it takes to what it's like to be in this world of AI and technology. Are we losing our humanity? Welcome. What's going on, Oyanga?
Hey man, just sitting here loving life, man. Figuring things out, enjoying this good summer sun. Yeah, man. We
Yeah,
just
the summer sun in Vegas.
yeah, dude. I just went to the day of gratitude for the vets and first responders, man. It's pretty cool. It was a pretty cool event. I'm glad that they do that for us. It was free and everything at the Allegiant Center. Yeah, so it was pretty cool.
Okay, that was yesterday, this morning.
It was yesterday. We had
Okay,
they had a country singer and everything. Some people got some awards. Yeah, it was a beautiful thing. It was a beautiful thing.
cool, man. Yeah, that's awesome, man. Las Vegas Sun. It's a great day to always celebrate the veterans and first responders. They putting their life on the line. As you know, for those of you who don't know, we're both Marines, and I do a lot of work with first responders now. So kudos to those guys, and they certainly deserve those accolades and that response, man. So yeah, man. So we got a great show lined up, talking about a topic that's near and dear: seeds. Uh, you had some research you did on this topic, and just open it up for us, man.
Well, okay, so the idea of what I was speaking about, it came from a long time ago. I was working at the USDA and everything like that, and I'm a person that likes to eat watermelons with seeds in it. I enjoyed when I was young, getting a mouthful of watermelon seeds and just spitting them or even chewing them up. But there's a video that came out that had a different idea than what I had. And I think it's important that we actually pay attention to what other people are saying, because this is how me and Rod work. We have different ideas and we understand that things come from different angles. And
No
this
doubt.
guy's angle um, is an important angle to pay attention to. So if you would go ahead and let this one roll.
You want to run it? Are you able to hear the sound on it?
Nah, I don't hear the sound.
Once every apple,
There you
grape,
go.
watermelon, and tomato is seedless, guess who controls life itself? No more planting your own food. No more saving seeds for next season. Everything you eat, everything that grows, will come from our labs. And when the last natural seed is gone, that's when it gets fun. We can make them rare, expensive, maybe even licensed. Only billionaires that will have gardens, and everyone else will have to subscribe to eat. Sounds insane, right? But it's already happening. Seedless isn't convenience, it's containment. Every time you pick up a seedless fruit, you're holding a future that can't reproduce. So yeah, expect more seedless, everything. Because the easiest way to control the world is to stop it from growing. So remember to stay safe out there. We are slowly getting rid of all seeds in fruits and vegetables. And
Yeah, go
honestly,
ahead. Let's finish that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so
That's an interesting video, man. Yeah, definitely a different angle.
well, yeah, and that angle is about one way of controlling, you know. It's about controlling. And we all know that, well, I don't know if we all know, but a lot of people know that when Muammar Gaddafi was doing his thing over there in Libya before he was murdered, he had granted his people, whoever wanted to have a garden, I mean, not a garden, a farm, good seed. This is seed that he was going to give those farmers that was not GMO, like the
What
original
these
seed.
heirloom seeds? Heirloom
Yeah,
seeds?
yeah, some yeah. If we can label them as that, um,
Okay.
and we know that for those who live near Amish people, we know that they have their own seeds that they don't prescribe or get from anybody else, and it's it's really difficult to get their seeds. A lot of their foods outside of their community, they can't sell, but they can have a big farm and have a, a little garden for their family to eat, but a big farm for them to sell their food. And that little garden is with natural seeds. And
Okay.
that is an agreement that at least I was told when I was working for the USDA by Amish people. Whether it's a lie or not, they have seeds, their own seeds. Also, we know that the United States government has seeds. They have big vats of seeds frozen for any catastrophic event. So that is a sense of control. But and the angle, I mean, now that's a beautiful angle to have in your mind, to know that that's what they're trying, that might be one of the angles that they're trying to do. I've always looked at it from this idea of you are what you eat. Remember when they used to say that a long time ago? You are what
Oh
you
yeah,
eat.
man.
So
You are what you eat. Yeah, it was big campaigns about that when we were growing up, for sure.
yeah, so it's like if we are what we eat, if we're eating junk food all the time, that means our body's junk, you know. But if we're eating foods that don't reproduce, especially foods that's supposed to have seeds that are supposed to reproduce, um, that's what we're taking on. That's what we're taking on. Now, I used to say it was a genetic, I mean, uh, generational disease. So I was using the wrong word when I was saying generational diseases. How the right word
What were you
is
saying was a generational disease? Just so I'm clear, what was a generational disease? What do you mean?
okay. Let me use the right word and I'll get straight into that.
Okay, sure.
I'll get straighter. Autosomal, autosomal, right? Autosomal recessive genetic disorder. And basically what that is um, it's where a person can have this disorder but not show any signs of disorder, pass it to the next generation and the next generation and the next generation, and none of these people have that signs of that disorder. And then all of a sudden, after that person becomes a great, 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 great grandfather, so that person is dead and gone, then their offspring start having signs of the disorder. Now, one of the things that if you know about it, it would be and this is one of those common things. One of those things would be sickle cell. A lot of people have the sickle cell trait, right? But then it's passed on, it's passed on, it's passed on. But nobody actually, I mean, I ain't gonna say nobody, but in some lines, the actual sickle cell, the whole thing does not show up. So that's what I was calling generational diseases. Now there are foodborne, um, this auto how you say
Somal, yeah.
autosomal
Autosomal.
recessive
Yeah, yeah,
genetic
yeah.
disease that is foodborne. So it does skip generations too. Now, one of those diseases, just to get you familiar with it, is uh, galactosemia, and that is one of the inabilities to break down milk or sugars in milk, or dairy formulas. So that might skip a bunch of generations, and then all of a sudden it shows up in somebody's child, and nobody knows. So it's also one of those things that you have to actually look for. You have to look for to know that you have that gene, and it takes two of them in order for it to kick in. We also got hereditary fructose intolerance, and you can get that from, I mean, it can pop up if a person's eating fruit, juices, or even table sugars, which cause severe what's that? Hypoglycemia and liver damage and extreme vomiting. And that is what I would call a hereditary disease, but it's and citric fibrosis is also one of those things where a person doesn't create the proper enzymes to break down food. If you know, so that's malnutrition right there. So what I'm saying is my idea of it. Now, his idea was awesome because we do talk, me and Rod do talk about a lot of government controls, or not so much necessarily government controls, but the controllers controlling the people. People want this power to control us. His idea was a good way to control the food. And that is something that we got to be aware of all the time. Also, when it comes to the conspiracy of depopulation, these diseases right here that I saw, or disorders, what I just told you about, are real. So it's not what's it, a conspiracy theory. Those are things that really happen. But you know, they won't really tell us about the what I'm talking about, or even put a name on it, because there's too much money in taking seeds out of foods. You know, out of what we got, no seeds in bananas anymore, no seeds in watermelons. They giving out seedless grapes. It's really hard, at least in the areas where I'm at, to find seeds in some of these foods that normally have seeds. You know, so and they're making some of this pits inert, so where they can't reproduce, even though it's a pit, a giant seed. So these are some things that we need to keep in our mind and need to watch what we eat. So if that is not a conspiracy of depopulation, I know this one sounds like it's a hit or miss. You know what I mean? It's not like one of those big wartime depopulation things, but it is one of those slow ones that fly over people's heads. You know, like if I'm eating this, who am I damaging? I'm not damaging myself right now because I will never see it, because it skips generations, you know, and that person, you know, it might, and also not just skips generations. One child could have it and another child may not. You know what I mean? So it it can it can keep on happening, you know,
Yeah.
while everything's going. So please, I'm not saying that this is a let me see, conspiracy theory. I really don't like that word because it sounds like too fantastical, or you know, too fantasy. But there is a solve, and that's why we're here in this meeting, in this podcast, so we can find different solves for different issues. Even if it's just that guy and you want to believe that guy's issue, you know, his angle on the seedless, we still have to find a solve for it. And
Yeah, I mean, for sure.
go ahead.
I was gonna ask, like, he was also talking about, um, like, because we know that, in my opinion, it's really like major corporations that run the world,
Right.
disguised as governmental agencies, I guess. So it's really the corporations who fund everything. So the profiteering that's being done with seeds and plants and things like that is, you know, to the tune of trillions of dollars, I'm sure, per year,
Yeah,
to be
most
able to
definitely.
to be able to corner the market. So he was also saying that it's a way that's going to be highly profitable, that only billionaires may be able to have gardens in the future. So how do we, who are not billionaires yet, I mean, I'm on my way. I'm on my way. I'm gonna say it like that. On my way to becoming a billionaire, uh, get hold of the great seeds, and not only get the seeds, but then you have to have the knowledge to plant them. So not only are the seeds being confiscated, but it's also the knowledge of how to actually farm and grow things. And as people get pushed more and more into cities, you may be in an environment where it's going to be even more difficult to grow things, you know. So it is knowledge, which we know that, I mean, even if you look at a seed, it carries the DNA code from one plant to the next, which is the knowledge of how that plant can grow. And we're losing the knowledge of how to manage seeds and do all those things too. So it's a kind of a multifaceted issue. Not only do we don't have the seeds, but also the knowledge of how to farm and the ability to be able to do that in the future is being slowly taken away as well.
Yeah, one of the things that one of the, let's see, solves. Now there's many different solves. So please, if you feel that you have an idea to solve this, please put it in the chat, because we need to share these different ideas on how to solve this issue and every issue that we come up with. If you think it's not an issue, then cool. But this is one way to solve it, I believe. And it might work in my area, but not work in your area. So your area might have a totally different solve. So this is not the end all to uh, the solution. But one solution is if you are near a farmer or a Amish person, and you are able to get their seeds, or make some kind of deal, get those seeds and plant them. Now, one of these things, I'm not saying necessarily to have a garden. You don't have to have a garden for this. You can be the seller of seeds. It might not be on a mass track, but you can sell to community gardens that will have good seed. So you can plant just 2 or 3 pots. And once those that food comes up, grab those seeds and give it to the community garden. So now you have a bigger garden of actual seeds, but continue to plant that so you can spread that to the next community, another community, and then we will be able to have, these things, this food, and we won't be able to be controlled like that gentleman's idea. And it'll also eliminate the idea of uh, autosomal recessive genetic disorders, because the seed is good. It's not anything that could stop us from reproducing. It's a plant or a food that gives life instead of halting it. So that's one way to respond to that issue.
Yeah, I mean that's a good solution. Looked at it that way. Uh, are there a lot of community gardens like you can ride down just a block down where they go and they plant their stuff there and then they manage their own little section in the community garden? Do you guys have those there?
Well, there are a few, but because they're in certain communities, other people just might not know about them. They do have them in, like, we have a high school down the street called West Tech, and my children went there, and they have a gardening program. You know what I mean? So if and maybe I believe that they did have a watermelon, but the watermelon, I don't know how they do a seedless watermelon, but they did have uh seedless watermelon and a couple of different seedless foods that came from their garden. But if we was able to get some actual good seed, we can give it to that garden so that
Where
it
did
can produce something great. Huh?
did they like propagate the plant, or where did the seedless water come from? Like they didn't grow from seed,
Well,
apparently.
well, some of them, now some of them are chemically, genetically mutated seeds, and other ones are the way they grow it by the fertilization process from one plant to another plant. You know what I mean? So when, like, especially with grapes, they will tell you that, oh no, this is just part of the natural process. But when you got to tinker with this natural process, it's not natural. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
no kidding,
Yeah.
right?
It's like there's no chemicals done, but you tinkered with it. You did something that's not natural to that plant in order for that plant to not produce seeds, you know?
Yeah,
So
no doubt about it. Yeah.
there's tricks in people. There's tricks that people just aren't necessarily seeing, um, that is hurting other people. At least for my idea when it comes to this topic, you know.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much stuff in the grocery store, like you said, that doesn't have seeds in it. And another point that the guy said in the video, that it's not about convenience that these seeds aren't there, because sometimes you said you enjoyed eating watermelon growing up, but you can spit the seed out. I know we did the same thing, just kind of play with it, throw the seeds all over the place. Um, but nowadays, it's rare to find a watermelon with seeds in it, especially seeds that will produce something. So how, I mean, well, I guess we need a solution for how to, even if you're not near the Amish community or community where you could purchase, just I'm sure there's places online that you can find them. I know there's a nursery. It's about 45 minutes from here. They pride themselves on only having heirloom seeds.
Yeah,
So getting online, finding some of those is another route. Yeah, they're out there. You
yeah,
just
yeah.
have to do a little research. But first, like you said, with this, most of the time, most people won't even see this as an issue, because of what you're thinking about. You just grab the fruit or the food. You're not really thinking about how to reproduce it, or what's been done to it when they take the ability of the plant to be able to reproduce.
Yeah, and
These
it's
days, man, even that we do have been modified so much. One, I
well, just so you know,
think
you're cut.
I don't know, we bit some time ago.
I didn't hear you. Could you say it again, please?
Okay, I think we got a little bit of a lag. I was just saying, I was doing some research on the paleo to a caveman style diet, more natural, hunter-gatherer type diet. And we started looking at some of the foods that we have today, like an avocado, for example, has more of a meaty flesh than a natural one. Natural one. The bananas we have today, uh, less seedless than the other natural ones once were. Everything's been modified to make it more meaty, more appealing, more uh, bigger, better than the natural ones would.
Right, right.
And we just see broccoli really was, but a lot of the things that we see have been just so genetically modified. So the point I'm making with that is, this issue can just go right over your head, because we just go to the grocery store without that modified. So it's not something that we often think about if you just shop at a grocery store. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I think it's a lot of greed and impatience that we're running into, you know? Um, and like what you said. Well,
Yeah,
no, it's
tell me
just like
about it.
what you said. Like I want that big apple. I want that big fruit. I want that I want to eat this without any interruption. I don't want to be inconvenienced by this little bitty seed in my grape. you know and then
Mhm. Yeah,
the people who are producing it are giving it to us that way mentally,
yeah,
and everything around us is about speed. So it's our culture now. It's our culture to have everything fast and huge,
yeah,
and it's not necessarily better, because the bigger these meals are, the bigger the fruit is. And yeah, fruit and vegetables are healthy, right? But we're obese for the most part. You know what I mean? So if we had everything
are
in
they
its
though?
actual
Right?
size, and the actual
Yeah.
size of its growth, and we can see that process, then maybe we would not eat that much. You know, if more people had their hands in growing the food, you know, and seeing all the work that it takes, we probably would not eat as much. I'm just saying, but I do know there are people out there that are like, man, I ain't getting my hands dirty. I ain't. There's other people to do that, and I get it. There are other people to do that, you know. But and it is your health. If you want McDonald's, eat McDonald's. You know,
Yeah.
if you know that some of these fast food places aren't giving you real meat, you know, if you're a vegan, if you're a vegan and you're getting all these processed foods, it's still processed. It's processed with things that cause high cholesterol, you know, like vegetable oils and not is it olive
For
oil
sure.
maybe, you know, high cholesterol additives, you know, which is still not healthy, you know. Um, so we and that might not be your thing. That might not be
Yeah.
your thing, but it's something that you should know. I feel that it's something that we all should know. You know, I'm not telling anybody to not be a vegan. I'm not telling anybody not to be a meat
Yeah.
eater. You know, yeah,
McDonald
yeah,
Tarian.
fast
Yeah.
foodtarian. Yeah, do what you want to do. Do what you want to do. Eat all them
Yeah.
ho-hos and cupcakes and stuff like that. Because I used to do it. You know, I used to love pizza. You know, and there's still a piece of knowledge that we haven't shared with the rest of the world, and that's foods that don't mix. You know, there's foods that we put together that cancel the food out or that cause other problems. You know, like pizza. There's a lot of stuff isn't supposed to mix with pizza. So I mean, it's just what it is, dude. It's just what it
Man,
is.
yeah, I mean, you touching on a lot of different points, right? Because we get educated, especially here in America, that we're one of the most advanced societies in the world, which I don't think is really true. And yet, like when I teach the nutrition classes at my job, I'll ask people how many people eat fruits and vegetables, and the hands will go up. Like, you know, people will say zero fruits and vegetables a day, and we know, like, at the very basic fundamental level, that's something that we should have in our diet. But we've been just so seduced with the convenience and making things taste so good that it makes us seem like, man, you're not much more psychologically advanced when it comes to what it takes to take care of a body than the primitive societies were. Because we're really talking about the very elementary basics of what it would take care of a body. And most of us, I mean, most of us aren't even really doing that. Uh, in spite of being one of the most advanced societies in the world, right?
Right.
Supposedly,
Yeah.
which I think is,
Go ahead.
yeah, man. Yeah, so just that, bro. We kind of you kind of mentioned that we fast forwarding really quick with wanting things fast, quicker, bigger, better. The whole thing when it comes to diet, in terms of diet. But it's also that brings me to this point I want to discuss about us as humans in general. Like, are we losing what it takes to be a human and that human connection? Part of it is like when people want to some people don't want to put their hands in the soil. Are we losing that connection to Earth itself with all the technology that we being immersed with, the ability to connect with each other? Um, I got some stats on it. In fact, like Americans aged 15 to 24 spend approximately 70% less time face to face with friends than they did 20 years ago. So we're losing our ability to just be connected with each other, um, which is kind of sad. Kind of missed that. Another stat is people are just lonely due to this technology. We think that is getting us smarter. 33% of Americans reported they have had 10 or more close friends in 1990, and 3% reported having no close friends. And today, in 2021, it's probably a little bit worse. 13% reported having 10 or more close friends, and now approximately 12% reported having no close friends at all. So, um, 4 times as many people have no close friends at all than they did in 1990, in spite of the technology supposedly bringing us closer together. And it
Yeah.
is in some ways connecting us, but I mean, that's pretty crazy, right? No
Well,
close friends at all.
I seen I heard stories about this. I was in this one group, and now this is secondhand information, but the
Yeah,
information
yeah.
comes from a person who's high on it and actually was the dealing with this situation. There's uh, a person in the conference that lived with 5 people, like they were all rooming, and that person wasn't friends with none of the 5 people. All the 5 people, whenever they was around each other in the common area, they were all on their phones. They did not have conversations, and it wasn't that the dude was unlikable. He was a
Yeah,
really likable person. You know, when he came to the conference, he talked to everybody, but it was like who are your friends? This dude is like in college age, and he only had a friend from a teacher that was in high school that really wasn't his friend, just somebody he talked to that
yeah.
liked him, you know. And then the other people that was his friends were people in the conference. So yeah, it's our technology, at least in this case, and that's what he said is everybody's on their phone or on their computer. Nobody's actually
Yeah.
having good conversations.
And when you think about what it takes to be a human, we talk about a lot like, human beings want to be around each other. They want to be seen and be heard. So this is a real big threat to what it means to be a human in and of itself. Just the disconnection from each other, because we at our very core in our upbringing, thousands of years ago, I believe we were more tribal beings. So with this disconnection, I mean, man, that's huge. It's going to really affect not only our mental state, our body, our health, because our health depends on human connection. It's also disconnecting us with ourselves, because with so much stimulus going on, we don't really take the time to be quiet. In fact, that's really difficult for some people to just sit quietly and watch the birds or something.
Right,
It's just in that constant state of uh, it was like, I guess it's an underlying level of stress to not to be able to quiet the mind. And it creates a sense of burnout, because it says, I mean, you can get physically tired, but you can also get tired from your mind going too much. And
right.
that taxes your body too.
I think that also people don't, because of the fact that we don't talk to each other a lot, or we're not having a lot of tactile connections or communications. uh a lot of people get the idea of quieting the mind wrong. People
What
think
do you
that
mean?
the mind is supposed to be, some people, because
Okay,
I know I
okay.
did, this was years ago. So,
Yeah, yeah.
and I've heard other people agree with me. But that people think that the mind has got to be quiet, like there's nothing going on, like they don't hear nothing, and
Okay,
that's not
okay, okay.
necessarily the fact. It's being able to, in some cases, because I don't know all of meditation, I don't know all the whole spectrum of it, but from what I thought or was taught is you can have certain thoughts. I mean, we're able to meditate and still have the thoughts. We just pay it, instead of focusing on the thoughts, just listen to the thoughts, see what's coming in the head. And instead of grabbing a specific thought and holding on to it, okay, let that one go. Let's think about something else. Let's keep it flowing, keep the flow going, keep being calm and relaxed in this is who you are, you know and we don't know who we are because we're always on YouTube, uh which is not a bad thing when you're doing certain things, but like a lot of the shorts, the TikToks, we're always doing this technology that keeps different ideas going that are not our ideas. You
No
know,
doubt. Yeah.
swiping up, oh, here's a whole new idea from a whole new person. You know,
Yeah.
now instead of me focus on this how it's made, now I'm on this big booty girl. And then I swipe up, now I'm on archery. Then I swipe up, now I'm on guns. Now I swipe up, now I'm listening to music. You know, it's changes so much in a short period of time. It's like, what are we really focused on? But go ahead. Thank you for allowing me to speak during that time.
No, I think no, that was a good point. I mean, because like you say, you can get exposed to so many different things online, and it's 30, 10 seconds here, 15 seconds there, and it may or may not be your thoughts. So if you're disconnected from yourself, how do you then get in touch with yourself? You have to be either be able to shut it off, but in this case today, most of us is going to the next influencer or these type of things to find a sense of self, and you're never going to find it, right? Because you got to go within for that. So these connections can be uh, even when you think it's connecting, it's still kind of disconnecting in a way, because it's going outside. And once you connect with that self, which is what life's all about, in my opinion,
Well, I got a
that's how
question
you
for you.
go ahead.
How do you think, or how do you propose we get this connection again? Is that where you was going next, or was you going someplace else?
Yeah, man. I mean, yeah, get the connection again. One thing you could do is exercise. I mean, we know as a society we don't do enough of that. Just exercising because, I was mentioning earlier that you can get um, worn out by your mind going too much. And you ever hear of like, basketball players or different people who work out or do sports that get into the zone and they
Yeah,
kind of just doing their thing and their body's moving. You can do this with dance. You can do it with um, archery, shooting, gardening, whatever your thing is, just doing something active with the body where you get into the state of flow can help reconnect you to yourself and also get the mind to just chill because you're still having thoughts when you're gardening or dancing, whatever, but it's a different state of connection with the self. So that's one recommendation, just doing something active to help create more connection with the body. And then, of course, you can do those things with other people. Um, rather than connecting online, hey, let's go really meet up and do one of these things together. So seeking out those opportunities to really get in someone's presence is always a way to do it as well. Um, I talked to this guy at work. He's like 62 or something like that. Trying to newly divorced a couple years ago, getting into the dating scene, and he said the only way he can really meet women now is um, on the dating apps, which I don't know how I would survive with in the dating apps because I've been married 27 years, but when I was a kid, I would just go talk to a girl if I was interested. You know what I mean?
right, right.
And I asked my son the same thing. I say, what if you saw a girl in the store that you thought was cute? You want to get with her? Would you go up and talk to her? He said no. I'll see if I can get her a snap or or something like that with somebody I knew. I said, well, that's a missed opportunity, man, if you don't just go talk to her. So just going up and talking to people, and I know you do that a lot in your life, just going up and having conversations can help reconnect. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? So,
and it's I for me, it's how we grew up. It's how we
yeah,
grew up. You know, hey, what's up? How you doing? Oh, nice dress. Hey, how you doing? Oh, excuse me, sir. What kind of cologne is that you got on? That smells really nice. You know, oh, I like your glasses. So we did that. It was so common. It wasn't an art form. Now there was people who
yeah,
was
yeah, yeah.
deeper. There was people who were deeper in it that would bring up anything just to get their point out and take you there, which is an art form, you know. So now um it's trying it, I guess, I don't know, like you said, the dating apps, all of those other things, I don't deal with. I'm glad I'm 25 in 25 years in, baby.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
and then I know this might be a little bit off. Nah, I ain't
No,
gonna
go
go
with it.
there. Oh, go with it. Go with it.
Yeah, man.
Well, okay. When it comes to connection,
Yeah, yeah.
when it comes to, I guess this really doesn't mean anything, but when it comes to connection, a lot of people, I believe people are a little bit nervous about the connection because we don't know exactly what we're going to get, but we never knew exactly what we were going to get anyway. But now I think the things that we're people are focused on are big issues that are in the media so much. Like I'm gonna go talk to this girl, but is she a trans? I need to see uh her TikTok from 7 years ago. I need to I need to, see is this person a Trumper? Do I need to find out or MAGA, that's the word they call. Is this person a MAGA? Or like people
I get
are
what you're saying.
yeah, I
I
think
get what you're
there's so
saying.
many blocks, even for young folks.
Yeah, I mean, because I was talking to my son again about dating once, and he basically was saying that he'd do research on a girl before he would talk to her. And I think that's speaking to your point, like, because back in our day, you didn't have the opportunity. There was no way to find out with someone, but that's part of the surprise, right? Just talking to them and getting to know them, asking questions, hanging out, spending time. But nowadays, you got to vet everybody out before you hang out with them. And in some ways, I can see the benefit. In other ways, it kind of takes out the spontaneity and the fun and excitement of life if you're making all your judgments based on what you see online,
Yeah,
uh, and I don't know if I like it. I mean, sometimes it's just cool to just get to know someone without trying to investigate them or have this suspicion about who they are first.
yeah, and there's no need to have that preconceived notion or idea of anything. It's like, let me just talk to you.
Yeah,
Hey, I don't have anything to say in that. Like that uncomfortable silence inside. I ain't gonna say it's uncomfortable, but that silence inside of an elevator. You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
hey, I'm in the elevator. If somebody talking to you in the elevator makes you feel uncomfortable when you see me, prepare to be uncomfortable because I'm talking to you. I'm going to say something. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Hopefully, for the most part, it'll be a compliment because I want people to feel good. I'll
yeah,
compliment
no doubt.
something. Hey, man, you got some really nice sneeze. You know what I'm saying? Like they ain't asked you're done. You don't got a lot of lines, man. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
what's that lotion you got on? Yeah,
Something. There's always something good to say about somebody that can spark up a piece of joy in their heart that will allow them to have a wonderful conversation with you. They might now, mind you, because of the R. Kelly, the Diddy's, and these new situations, somebody might think that you're coming at them from a different angle. Like, why are you being nice? Were you trying to get some money from me or whatever? But
yeah, for sure. That's a real thing.
you know,
I mean, and then it's like, I mean, like you said, like maybe you got to vet someone out first. But what has that really done to us, you think, where we can't really go up and talk? Like, what does that do to society as we keep going down this road 10, 5, 10, 15, 30 years from now? No one's going to talk to each other out in public because for fear of being seen as being weird, crazy, coming on to someone, too aggressive, all these different things, or we're gonna lose that ability just to go up to someone and say hello. It seems like we're trending down that path, man. Um,
I believe also, remember, and this is maybe part of the problem. Yeah, now the solution is basically talk to people offline, talk to new
yeah,
people. But I think that we were guided there. We were corralled to this point by Sesame Street. You know what I mean?
Like the old school Sesame Street, the school,
Like the old school
like the
Sesame
show.
Street, the Electric Company, the 3-2-1 Contact. Those when we the Looney Tunes, He-Man, all of that stuff. Coming home, the parents are like, "Man, I just got off work. Hey, get in there, do your homework, watch cartoons, get outside." Nobody like growing up the way they did that. There started to be less. There started to be less contact, even when we were younger. The kids
Yeah,
were having contact with each other, but we lost contact. Some people, some people lost contact with their parents because the parents had to have two jobs.
yeah,
Their parents only had one in the household, and stuff like that. So it was like, okay, what's going to keep me company? This television. Because we didn't
yeah,
have computers. We didn't have computers. So I'm just going to sit here in the television because my mom doesn't want me to go outside because they're selling drugs outside, or it's too late to be outside and she has to go to work. So here I got the Cosby Show. Now, mind you, the Cosby Show was an awesome show to watch, you know, but that became people's babysitter. That became people's um, thoughts
yeah,
and feelings and emotions. Ally McBeal, the Partridge Family, all of that.
yeah. Yeah,
And
you're definitely right. I mean, the TV stepped in and became the parent, the friend, the way to disconnect from the real world, right? Because you got so many stresses going on, the bills, this and that. I'm just gonna sit here and veg out for a bit and try not to think about what's really happening in reality, um, while this TV's going.
yeah,
And it became a pacifier. It became everything, right? And now the screens are even more than that. It's where you get your fashion guidance, your food, you order stuff online. It became everything now.
yeah.
And I mean, they say we're getting smarter with all this stuff, but are we really? You think? I mean, we're certainly losing some wisdom, the
Oh
wisdom of
yeah.
what it takes to be humans. You know what I mean? How we get back to this wisdom?
I personally think the way to get back to the wisdom is start talking to old people. Old people start talking to young people. That's the only way to do it. People, we need to start. I feel there need to be more listening, less disagreeing, just more listening. Okay, now we don't have to agree, and there's a difference between disagreeing and not agreeing. You know, I can listen to you and be like, okay, I get it. Let me ask you this question because I don't understand. And what you're saying, I I I need more information in order for me to even align to that. And alignment doesn't mean I agree with you. I don't have to see it from your angle. I don't see it from your angle, but at least you can make it make sense to me. Tell me why you think this way. So just getting into a conversation of let me know you. Open up your heart to me so I can hear you, so I can feel you, so I can understand you. That's what we need to get back to, because that allows, just like this first video that we saw, my idea was totally different than his, but we're looking at the same exact thing. And I'm not going to say he's wrong because it makes sense. you know I'm able to listen to him and be like, oh, I see where you're going at. And mind you, some people might be like, man, whatever, man, that makes no sense, but I agree with you. Oh yeah, I agree with you. And some people are looking at this like, I don't agree with none of y'all. That's garbage. The government ain't like that, and the seeds aren't that. What, autosomal
Yeah,
is not even the thing, man. Or, even though it's right there and you can look it up, but you know, it's still, even that having an opportunity to listen to somebody and to listen to our parents and listen to our grandparents and listen to their idea of what they went through in life. You know,
Yeah.
it may not be exactly the same of what we heard online because they have a different angle of their truth and what they went through, you know. So that's and because times change, I don't want to get into this one too much, and this is could be a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
But like even the fear of getting into the conversation and what people will think about your conversation that you have is a blocker to conversations because me and my son get into conversations about things where he feels some of the things that I say are racist, right? And so be it. You know, so be it. I don't care if that's what you believe. I don't even try to justify it. Like I got white friends, I got Mexican friends, I got these kind. I don't try to justify it with that. I justify it with the way I was, where I was brought up compared to the way and where you were brought up. I was brought up. I seen Ku Klux Klan members. There was Ku Klux Klan communities where I live. There's none here, or if there are here in Vegas, and I'm from Ohio, if there are some here in Vegas, I don't know about them. He doesn't know about them. So the stuff and like back when we were younger, it was okay to smack a woman, you know, your wife, your girlfriend. It was okay. Not saying that I agreed with it, you know what I mean? But it wasn't something like you smack a woman now and everybody's trying to come jump you, you know, or people trying to cancel you, you know. But back then it was like, what did she do? What did she do? You know, there was even that. Now it's an off-color joke now. Like, what do you call a woman with two black eyes? Well, I mean, what about that? She took her two times to listen or something. I don't know. I don't know the joke, but you know, so it's like, and that right now is horrible. You know, it's viewed as something horrible, but back then it was a joke. It was funny. You know what I mean? The young people now are canceling people for stuff like that. And I get it and I understand because some things need to change. Some things need to
For sure.
change. But like the conversation, people must be open and understand that everybody grew up different. I didn't understand. I see my son growing up in a different community, different culture, you know, growing up here. And, you know, I'm telling him that racism still exists when he was younger. Now he sees it. But when he was younger in middle school, he was like, no, it doesn't. It's like the Ku Klux Klan are still here. No, they're not. Okay. And then he got to high school and he sees it, you know. He sees it on the news. Oh, they are still here. Yeah, they are. They never left. So my idea and the way you talk to me, understand this is where I'm coming from. I'm coming from this era, this way of life, this way of thinking. You know, it's not hate like you think it's hate. It's just understanding of what was in my life. You know, I could
Yeah.
talk about crack and he can't because he's never been around that area. You know, he hasn't been, he doesn't smoke, he doesn't drink. I used to smoke, I don't smoke anymore. And I only drink a little bit. So he doesn't see that. There's no alcohol in my house, but I used to drink a lot when I was in the Marine Corps. You know what I mean? So there's, we have to understand of where other people are coming from, that everybody's different. Everybody doesn't have the same life. And because America has a lot of different cultures here from other countries, other states, cities, you know, we must be open. We must be open in order to have a wonderful community of people.
Yeah.
That's
No
just
doubt,
what I
man.
feel.
Yeah, for sure, man. And it takes time. That's why I appreciate you know, these conversations that we have that are long form because we've been so conditioned to do things quickly, everything quick, faster, And it really takes time to get to know someone, like we're saying, spending the time with them and really getting the opportunity to hear their perspective, which you can't get out in a 30-second clip all the time and or 10-second TikTok. It takes time for ideas and someone's perspective to take shape. And with only hearing, you and I talk all the time for hours at a time, and I'm sure there's a million things about me that you don't know yet, and vice versa. So you
Right.
can never really fully know someone. And if you're unwilling to give them the time, which is what it takes, then you may never really know someone. And without that knowing from each other, we continue to stay ignorant to what this world is really about, which is that connection that we have with each other. And and we're not just talking about physically, we're talking about connection um, in thoughts, ideas, spiritual systems, and all these things that connect us, even just the air we breathe. And if we're unwilling to give someone the time, we're just really missing out and having a limited version of what this life could be for ourselves. Um, it just
So true.
doesn't allow our life to be so rich. So yeah, man, I think we hit the nail on the head with talking about this topic and how we can come together, get out there, move your body. You want to say something?
Now I got a question
Go ahead.
for you, but I'll
Sure.
wait till you're finished. Get
Yeah, I
out and
was
move
just
your
gonna
body.
say, move your body, connect with nature, man. Build some real friendships. Hang out with some people. We want to encourage you to do that. I'm gonna do that today. Hang out with some family and uh, maybe some friends, and just get to know each other, enjoy each other's company more. Yeah, what you want to say before we get out of here, man?
Well, I just want to
I had a
ask you a
question.
question because you are a speaker, you're a public speaker, right? So what would you tell somebody? I know we went over it, but what would you tell somebody? Hey, this is how you can open up a conversation, open up dialogue with somebody, just so that you can have a conversation, a
You
back
mean
and
like
forth conversation.
somebody on the streets?
Yeah, not yeah, somebody that you don't know. How would you tell somebody, or could you walk us through a technique on how to grab a person's attention?
I mean, I think what you said earlier was beautiful, man. Just compliment someone on something you see, something you recognize in the environment, something that you recognize with them. Maybe it's just their smile, maybe it's just the way they walk, and just starting it that way, and then being open to see where it goes from there. Um, that's what I would recommend, man. Maybe you share something in common. Maybe you're in the same place. You just start the conversation. Hey, this is a beautiful day today. And another thing we could do also is what I notice with people. Let's say, for example, you ask someone, "Hey, how's it going today?" And generally, we'll say something like, "Good, I'm okay." But just to really expound on those types of ideas when you're being asked can start a conversation. So, if people have a hard time saying, "Hey, I'm doing wonderful today," because of this, this, and that, and just really starting to expound. I find that we have a hard time really expressing, what state we're in,
Mm.
and just really expounding on those types of questions. Just a simple greeting and not leaving it just a one word answer could be a good way to do it. So I used to listen to this guy, was it Zig Ziglar?
Okay, yeah,
Who's
yeah, yeah.
Zig Ziglar? I think he would say something like, "Oh, I'm doing wonderful, and it's a fine day," or something like that. He would just really go on and make a big production of just about how he was doing, and that would spark a conversation because people are so used to getting that standard good, okay answer. You know what I mean? So even just being more expressive of yourself can spark conversations. There's a million ways to do it. I don't have any real good techniques. I personally just, say hello. I'm from Georgia in the South where most people speak to each other. Even if they throw up a hand, just wave. Simple things like that, little gestures, little smiles. Sometimes just a smile can go a long way. Just smiling at someone.
You can also, I have done this before because everybody isn't going through a wonderful day, and you don't want to
No
lie
doubt.
to people all the time. So, but you can, I have enrolled people into my trauma or drama, but without um pushing my drama on them by asking, like, excuse me, do you got a little bit of time? Like, what? Well, look, I was going through this. I got a question for you. If this happened to you, what would you do? How would you handle that? And shut up. And I would just be quiet and listen and allow what they're saying to give me some sort of growth. And if
Yeah.
they did not answer my question correctly, still not pour myself on them, ask them a deeper question, get them talking so I can listen, you
Yeah,
know? And
for
that
sure.
way it helps me out because I'm like, okay, that what they said didn't work. I already tried that. Or, ooh, that works. So if since that works, how about this? You know, there, and that right there creates connection because I know it's time to go, but I still want to talk for a little bit more. Um, unless you're ready.
I'll go for it.
Okay. Because this is the thing that is, and it comes off of what we just saw in the beginning of this video, in the beginning of our podcast. The different angles. There's so many web connections that connect everybody at different angles, and we don't know which angles it is that is another person can respond to. So just know that we're all connected. No matter what, we're all connected. And we all, whether a person is racist, whether a person is sexist, whether a person is whatever, there is still a connection between us, you know, that we can agree with. So it's the only way to find that out is to dig deep, and we need to dig deep and not just let everybody be on their own, you know, because we are connected. That's just what I wanted to say, man. I know we're getting ready to
Yeah,
get
man.
out of here,
Yeah, man.
man.
Yeah, it was a good one, man. Talked about some seeds today, autosomal genetic disorders, human connection. I thought it was some great topics, man. Great points. Great to share with you. As always, anything you want to leave the people with before we get out of here today?
But well, I think we need to talk about just real quick some of the things that we're doing. And I will
Yeah,
say
man.
that I am with the group called Alhambra, and we are building communities to make this world better, to make to give people opportunity to live in a community to where there is no wonder or no thought of where am I going to eat next. There's always food. That right there is a sense of peace, at least in that area. So that's what we're doing in a group outside of here. So I just want to pass that to you.
Yeah, that's great, man. That's great. Yeah, man, I'm excited. Like Ali mentioned, I'm getting into public speaking and doing that. Coming to a place near you hopefully soon. And I'm also the creator of the Ritual Framework, which is a framework that was born out of my own lived experience from my own physical ailments and different things I've gone through, as well as the time I've spent working with thousands of people to help them incorporate working out and health and fitness into their life. And that ritual framework is simple. It's built on these tenets. It's an acronym for reboot, you know, not trying to rebuild a new self on old habits and old thought patterns to really get involved in this. And this ritual framework can apply to any point in life. Just reboot, taking a new mindset on intensity and intention, which is also important. The intention in which you have about a new change in life can be fueled by the intensity in which you put into it. And then from there, time, allowing yourself the time and patience to see whatever this endeavor is through, being patient with yourself while also holding yourself accountable. Union, when the mind, body, and spirit are all working together, you can do anything and you can approach it with a sense of excitement and wonder to bring that about. And then aspiration. When we aspire to do things that are bigger than ourselves, we tend to dig in more to help those around us. And we've been talking about that today, bringing in human connection. Alhambra, your group is an aspirational thing, doing something bigger than yourself. And lastly, when you embody a new lifestyle change, you become the light that allows people to see what they can become themselves. So, ritual, that's what it's all about. I'm looking forward to coming and talking to more people about incorporating ritual as a framework and as a thing in their life to create lasting change. So that's me in a nutshell, man. All right, so we're out of here.